Thank you. So for tonight, I'll, I don't know, can I have the privilege to share my screen just to run through certain things? So I've sent a request. Okay, thank you. Sorry, can we see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So basically, we are considering a review of literature, and I just had to come up with something. It's much, I could probably send it to the platform or to the organizer so that everybody could have access to it one way or the other. There are some things I'll be talking about that are not here, but I just want to lay a bit foundation about what we talked about in terms of a literature review. Now, when we're talking about a literature review, you said the review of literature is a summary of all the review from various search literatures related to the current study carried out by a researcher. And I would love to say something like this. Somebody asked a question and Brotose has actually answered the question. Before you can pick up a researchable topic comes from your labor of work while reading through several literature. Yes, you have an interest. Look at me. I have my basic understanding and discipline in economics. After a while, I had to specialize in one or two areas of economics. I'm a macro person, and in that macro field, whether I like it or not, I can't be all of the macro. So I have to streamline my macro interest to another subset of interest. And that's why I pick monetary. We have people that are fiscal policy person. We have some international economics person. We have people that are into earth economics. We have people into public finance. We have people that are into operation. So, but my own area of interest is basically monetary economics. Yes, monetary economics is macro. Now, anything I want to do, or every time I'm always thinking about macroeconomic variable, anything related to inflation, anything that has to do with productivity, anything that has to do with exchange rate, anything that has to do with currency, anything that has to do with either broad money or the supply or whatever that has to do with demand, supply, and everything like that. So that's where I think. So if I want to I want to publish any paper or I want to conduct any research, I have an interest already. I have where I want to work. So I need to look for paper that relate to my area of interest where I want to work on, even though I do not have anything in mind of what I'm going to get. So I can begin to look for the effectiveness of monetary policy on so this in Africa. Then different paper that people have published will begin to pop up. And maybe after this class, maybe by tomorrow, I'm going to make reference to some of the journals sites that we could download correct and updated papers, like high quality papers. When I'm talking about high quality paper, not just paper that they publish in clinical business journal, just anyhow like that. All this Elsevier, you can get paper in Elsevier very well, Taylor and Francis, and there's some other reputable journals like that. So Emerald is there. So all those journals sites, you have quality papers that you can review. So in a nutshell, before you can start anything, yeah, Rotosin, the organizer made reference to like 50 to 60 papers. Yes, very correct. Because you have to read, that's where you build, before you can start anything at all, before drafting your introduction, drafting anything, what you need to sit down with is to look at the paper that correlate to your interest first. It's from the paper that you've read and reviewed that you'll be able to carve out a topic And the topic is going to reflect the gap that you want to fill. And what do we call a gap? A gap is just one thing that you tend to do differently from what others have done in the past. That's why we said it could be in terms of methodology. That's why when you see some papers, okay, maybe I will try and download one paper and I will show us some areas how you can pick to start with. From your abstract, from the abstract of a paper, you can detect what the person did in that paper. You can know the result, their findings. You can know the methodology they used. You can know the country they considered. You can even know the number of years they consider, whether it's a time series paper or a cross-sectional paper or a panel data analysis that was conducted. So you will have that understanding from the abstract alone. Every abstract should capture something like that, irrespective of the number of words, whether 300 or 400 or 250, it should be able to capture certain measures of information. So let me quickly run through this introduction. I say it helps to discover what is already known about the research problem and what more has to be done. That's how your review of literature will come up with. You say, according to Abdullah and Levin, the material gathered in literature review should be included as a part of the research data. Since it influences the problem and research design, it can be used to compare the result and finding for the current study. Apparently, there's no way you will review 20, 30 papers that will not make use of those papers in your write-up. It's not possible. Are you getting what I'm saying? It is never possible that you will use 40 papers, you will review 40 papers, and you got your response from those 40 papers, and you will not use those papers thereafter. No, it's not possible. Because all those papers, they were where you apparently got your findings from, your gap from. So that's why they are very relevant. So let me go to the next slide before I say a few things I want to say tonight. I say introduction, definition. So a literature review is an assessment of a body of research that addresses a research question. Yesterday, we talked about research questions, research objective, and thereabout. Our research question is being informed from the literature we have reviewed. The bedrock of any research, the bedrock of any publication, anything that has to do with findings, come from getting to have an idea of what people have done in the past. That's why I said something yesterday. There's nothing new that everyone is doing right now. All what we are doing is we are building on the existing knowledge. We are only expanding the frontier of knowledge. We can only build on what somebody has done. I can pick up a paper that somebody published in China today and replicate it for Nigeria strictly. And the same thing, I will adopt the same structure, I will adopt the same methodology if it fits into Nigeria system. The only thing that will different in the work is the data. Because the person used China's data, Chinese data, I have to be used in Nigeria data. And with that, I've already done something. So there's nothing new we are doing. We are only building on existing knowledge, expanding the frontier of knowledge. A literature review is an organized written presentation of what has been published on a topic by the scholar. Boss and Group 2024. Say an account of what has been published by accredited scholars and researchers, Taylor 2021. So all these things that I said, they were the findings that I discovered in a paper. I didn't just put it there. Are you getting what I'm saying? These were statements made by somebody. I hope you are getting what I'm saying. Now, I want to talk briefly about the quality or the characteristics of a good literature review. What are the characteristics of a good literature review? A good literature review must have the following. Number one, it must be comprehensive. Why is it comprehensive? That's why we go to the extent of reviewing as many as possible journals. In some of the works that I've done in the past, I could open a folder or two folders and show you numbers of paper that I downloaded. In fact, inside the folder, I will have another folder. Inside that, I will have multiple folders inside the single folder because each of the folder has some other paper that relates to maybe one objective. And anytime I want to do analysis and I want to interpret the result, and I still want to make reference to the initial paper, I have to open that folder, look at what the person said, and corroborate it with what I've gotten. If I don't group those papers like that in a folder, inside the folder, I will be looking for the paper up and down, and I may not have access to know the paper that I've downloaded before. Because that's how research works. You can see a paper today and you're happy. You must strategically open different folders for different papers inside your laptop, so that when you need that paper again, you will not be looking for it. And I used to tell people that sometimes I'm working on the research work and my laptop has to be on for 1 week, sometimes more than a week, because I've opened some papers on my tab that I must not close it. Once I close it, I might not be able to find those papers again. There's some write-up that I'm trying to read through, to paraphrase, to work with. Once I close that particular page, it might be difficult for me to connect back to those statements any longer. So if you cannot go to the extent of opening your laptop or make your laptop to be available for like a week or 2-3 days, make sure you strategically document your paper, the downloaded one, inside a folder and keep it safe. Name with something that you can easily recognize. Sure you get, please. So the first characteristics of a good literature review is that it must be comprehensive. That's why we go to the extent of downloading as many as possible journals. Till you finish the work, you must keep downloading papers so that you keep yourself updated. If somebody has released another paper, you're able to use what they just published and you use it to reference the work. Number two, it should include up-to-date references. That's a beautiful one. If you look at what I quoted here, what I quoted, somebody made this statement in 2024. It doesn't mean that somebody has not said this thing before, but somebody just said it again. And this is another one that somebody said recently, 2021. So in your literature review, you must look for updated paper, recent published ones. Number three, it must be systemic. Systemic in such a way that you have to look at it that they are deep enough to capture what you tend to do. It's not as if you are working in one particular topic structure area and you are downloading contrary paper. They have to be systemic. They have to correlate. They have to be formed together. Number four, it should be reproducible. Now, reproducible simply means that when you've used that particular thing you've talked about, you've used to generate a topic, you must be able to use it again when you are interpreting your result. It's like saying you must be reproductive. This one is talking about the ability to reproduce something thereafter. No, so when you are interpreting your results, some of the paper that you've reviewed to build your background of the study, to bring out research problem, statement of research problem, that you'll be able to carve out research problem and research questions and research objectives. Definitely, they will be relevant in your interpretation of findings. So the next one is that it should be free from bias. It should be free from bias. You must not use any bias kind of paper. And when we are talking about bias, we are talking about there's this way that people have been able to picture some countries. Some people publish a paper that where they rubbish some countries. They just don't say anything good about that particular country. You must not use such a paper to reference your work. Once their result or their findings is biased, you will know. Every time they just talk about this country, maybe Africa, 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 and they've never seen anything good about Africa, is becoming more biased. So with that, you have to run away from such a paper. Next, it should be well written. You have to look for some structured, well written, well crafted paper where you want to review your work. Next, it should be in form of sum of its parts. That's the way it works. When it's in sum of its parts, it means when you download somebody's paper like this, and you download another one, something must relate the two together. If you download 10 papers, the 10 papers should in one way or the other relate. That's when those papers become useful to you. Next, it should be clear, clearly set and selected. That's why I talk about some journal sites that you have to go to. Some recommended journals are there, good publication papers are there that highly rated. Number next, accurate references should be given in the review. That's very correct. You have to give a good reference, like the author, the organizer has also said something about referencing. You have to reference the work. Look at the statement that I made here, talking about the definitions. If I don't reference this, they were not my statements. I have to make reference to them. So it's expected that when you do a good literature review, you reference the people that said those words. But to avoid plagiarism, you can restructure the way they said it. And now we have different software that help us to restructure, to paraphrase what someone has said, so that it won't pick it up as a plagiarism. So these are some of the things that I'll be talking later. It's a factor affecting review of literature. Researcher background. This is very key. An experienced researcher find it easy to prepare a review of literature than a beginner. There's nothing that makes this statement to be false. It is 100% perfect. Jokes apart, if the organizer want to work with at least 3 or 4 people on this platform and we choose them, they might not get the same results at the same time. His ability and his being fast in these writings will give him an edge. If I want to download people, I know some strategic places that I will go to. I've been doing this thing for a while. I know some area that I go to. I can easily pick a material. I can easily read or something. I know that once I download 10 papers in this area, I know strategic area that I go to when I see a paper. Yes, when I started then, I used to read from beginning to the end, and I will not gain anything. Yes, I started like that. And I will be looking at myself, maybe I don't know anything. There are some point I was privileged to work with some professors. They put me through how to review literature. When you go to see a paper, this is all for the Center for Econometrics, and I was privileged to be under him. Also, one of them, I have someone also in Unilag, like 5 of them, quite number of professors in no issue. So I had privilege to relate with quite number of them, to work with them. Yes, I served them. It was during the time of my service with them that I was speaking those things. Today, they are my own. So, number next, complexity of the research project. It is easy to collect review of literature for simple and easy research project than complex one. That's what I used to tell people. Please, over time, when you want to create problem, create a small problem that you can easily solve. Don't come and bombard yourself with so many problems. Strictly let your work center around Nigeria. Fine. So problem in Nigeria. Create one, look for one that from the Africa. You know what issues they were having? And by the end of the day, when you form your topic and you're reading chapter 1 to 3, then you run to data problem. So avoid complex problem when you are developing your research topic. Create small problem that you can easily solve and move on with that. Availability of resources. Yes, this is a very key point. Availability of resources like computer, internet facility, online and offline journal subscription make it easy to prepare a good review of literature. That's very key. If you don't have access to facility, internet facility, laptop, or some other things you need, or some of the subscription to that, sometimes when you download the paper, many of us we use sign up because you are not subscribed to some of the journals. You use sign up to open some of the paper that you cannot download straightly like that. At some point, you see some paper that they are recent paper, you read the introduction, the front page of the paper, you are so interested in reading the rest, but you could not. Even sign up could not get it for you. Then you are stuck. And you saw something good you want to use from that paper. Sign up could not get it for you. Are you getting my point? In the course of this training, I will tell you some other areas that you can use to get some of those papers, even though you couldn't subscribe for some of those journals. So a But these are some of the factors that affect literature review, and we must be very careful about them. Take it to them and take note of them very well. Number next, study time frame. To conduct a relevant review of literature, sufficient time is needed. It's not that in UK you can start a project and say somebody will finish a project in 2 months. If you are doing for some Nigerian work and tell you you can't finish the project in 2 months, or else you just do rubbish and you submit. If you really want to do a thorough research, I'm not talking of paper publication, I'm talking about a real dissertation or thesis writing. So it's not what you can just finish in. If you really want to do a good job, because it will take you nothing less than 2 months before you finish the literature review yourself. And these are the things you devote nothing less than 8 to 12 hours to every blessed day. So we must give enough time to do that, because the more information we have in our literature, the better it becomes when we are writing. It becomes very easy. So availability of support system. If there are many research scholars involved in the research, then a good review of literature can be gathered. That's very correct. The more you have enough resources, you'll be able to do your work, and you're going to be very fast. Purpose of review of literature. I might not go deeper into all this again. The lecture is very long. It's this material to the platform thereafter, so we can have the access to it. But there are some areas that I would love to talk about, and I will use step of literature review. Choose your topic. Well, these are the things you do once you have done your literature review. It's going to be very easier once you have all these things. And yes, content of the review. Now, from here, I will go to practical sections, which I'm going to demonstrate for us. The introduction. In your literature review, you must have an introduction, nothing less than at least maybe a paragraph of what you tend to do, things you want to discuss. And these are the things you want to discuss. The organizer have already mentioned it before, and these are conceptual review, conceptual framework, theoretical framework, theoretical review, empirical review. Then you come up with your gap. At least 6 subheadings in your chapter 2. At least. You can have more than that. And that's what form the body of what I just highlighted. Can anybody see my screen, please? Let me even know if you are still together. Can we see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So introduction is there, maybe just a paragraph to tell us what we tend to do, that this paragraph so want to do the review of literature that relates to this, blah, 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 blah. Fine. Then you go to body. The body that I represent here form conceptual review, conceptual framework, theoretical review,
But your slide is not moving, no. It's still stuck on content of the review.
Yes, I'm
Introduction,
not
body, and
moving. I'm using my
okay, you've not moved it.
to talk.
All right.
I'm not moving. Then then your gap. Then after that, you cannot do a brief, maybe like 2 or 3 paragraphs for your conclusion of what I've gotten. So now I won't go to the slide any longer because it's long. What I will do now is we just go straight to some of the practical classes. I get some of the things that I've done before. So I will share that with us now so that we can see. Now, this is chapter 2, literature review. Can we see the screen now? Hello? Anybody?
Yes, sir. We can
We
see
can
the
see
screen.
it. We can see your screen, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. So this is a particular word. Let me go to the beginning of this word. This is one of the words I did recently, maybe last year or thereabout, or early this year. It said an investigation into the technology adoption and impact of high-frequency trading in the United Kingdom stock market. Now, we've discussed anything related to chapter 1 yesterday, and I'm not going to go to that. I'm going to go to chapter 2. Now, chapter 2, recently, I just talked about introduction. Because some schools, some professors will tell you there's no need for you to put introduction as a sub-ed. Just write something. And look at me. I said this chapter provide an overview of the literature review on the existing body of research on high-frequency trading, HFT, in the United Kingdom. By synthesizing and analyzing previous studies, these reviews seek to identify the key themes, that is, key waves, controversies, and gap in the literature. These are the things I want to do. It offers an academic foundation for understanding the extent to which HFT has been adopted in the UK, the factor driving the adoption. This is where my objective comes in now. The statement I'm reading now is basically the objective I want to achieve. The factor driving the adoption and the repercussion on market dynamics, efficiency, and stability of the system management. The theoretical framework, which serves as the study approach, is developed, and important or pertinent assumptions are provided to put the theory principle into check. Now, introduction, I've done that. Now, the next thing that remains is the body of my chapter 2, which is the literature review. Don't forget, I said it earlier, there are papers that I can show you some of the number of that paper that I downloaded to do this. Now, the first thing that comes up is the conceptual review. When you are writing anything that has to do with accounting, finance, business, economics, some economics doesn't do conceptual review. They start their own with maybe some say conceptual framework. But now they're already introducing conceptual review. And conceptual review has to do with different concepts that form your topic. They are not things outside your topics. If your topic has nothing less than 3 or 4 concepts or variables, you have to pick them one after the other, how they relate and things like that. See, the first thing that this will talk about is historical development of high-frequency trading. And if you look at my topic, the topic here talks about the investigation into the technology adoption and impact of high-frequency trading. So, high-frequency trading is very key. I'll also talk about technology adoption. I'll also talk about the story, our historical story of UK stock market. I don't know where you're following. So, the first thing I did here is 2.11 talks about the historical development of high-frequency trading. That is that. The next one talks about empirical review, because in this particular work, I was told to just do a summary of everything together. See, I said, you see the second paragraph, in the United Kingdom, a significant milestone was the London Stock Exchange introduction of electronic blah, 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 like this. I was already talking about the stock exchange here. So this work, the supervisor said they don't want so much on it. And the next thing we have to do is to do literature, empirical review of the literature. And these are the things I consider under high-frequency trading adoption in the UK. That's number 1. Impact of high-frequency trading on market dynamics. Number 2. Regulatory environment and responses. That's 2.2.3. Market microstructure effect. Flash crash and market unknown. These are some of the concepts that form the literature review. And if you look at some of these papers, they are recent papers, one way or the other. 2017, 2016, 2019, 2020, and then about like that. There's no how you want to do some of this work that will be quoting 2000s, 2001, 2002. No, we won't accept such, because we believe somebody must have done something after that moment. So after all this, that's how the person the lecturer wanted the work to be. Now, I can show you another one that has another structure. Now, I don't, you can now see my screen. This is another work. Towards Lagos, to be specific. And I'm not going to talk anything about chapter 1. I still want to talk about chapter 2. So look at the chapter 2 literature review. We talk about the conceptual review, talk about housing, affordable housing, overview of affordable housing in Nigeria, government policy and initiative about housing, stakeholders involved in affordable housing provisions. If you look at some of the years, you see 2020, 2017, 2020, 2019, 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2019, 2020, 2016. You can see that we have one 2023. Can you see? All these things is to show that we apparently review some recent journals for this work. And from there, this one also said empirical review. Now, I have some that have theoretical review, and I'm going to show us now. It's just the way some of these works say they want it to be. And in them, that's how it works. So let me quickly run through where we can have I was going to round up the class now because our time is far gone. Sorry. Let me quickly look through a particular work. Okay, this is another person, real estate crowdfunding and its potential for democratizing real estate investment, opportunity and challenges. This is more like a policy-related kind of work. Seeing the topic, you can easily know what you intend to do. Now, let me quickly run through the chapter 2 so you can see what I try to talk about. Now, this is chapter 2. You see, there's still a little introduction here. This is a conceptual review, concept of crowdfunding, that's number 1. The evolution of crowdfunding, number next, type and feature of crowdfunding, benefit of crowdfunding. Those are concepts relate to the, and if you see some of the people financing model, typology of UK crowdfunding platform. I came up with this. I saw it in one of the paper and I adopted it. It wasn't my donation. It was the professor that said we should use some of these reward-based crowdfunding platform and things like that. And we have to stick to that. Then I saw this in the paper and I also adopted it. It wasn't mine. I didn't decide this. I saw it in the paper, I adopted it, and I referenced it. Yes, debt security and loan-based crowdfunding. These are the conceptual framework that will use it. You cannot use financial intermediary theory, intermediation theory in economics. It doesn't fit in. I said it the other time. There are some theory that work with some discipline, some field. There are some that doesn't work with it. Number next, information asymmetry theory. It work with it. We review that. Market-based theories, innovation derivation theory, institutional theory, and that. After we read these 4 or 5 theories, we eventually stick to one, and I made reference in one statement. This is the one we eventually adopted and used for this. So after reviewing like 3, 4, 5 theories, you have to tell us the one that you apparently stick to, the one that you want to adopt for your work. And that's how it works. Then the next one we did was review of empirical literature. Now, review of empirical literature, they said they want it to just be together. There are some that you have to be sectionalized. Maybe in Nigeria, you can some Nigeria review of countries. You review paper on several countries that form developing countries. Then the last one you can form review for developed countries. So agree on how to do your empirical review of literature. It's not all that goes together like this. There are some that are sections, and it's this work that I just show us now. If you observe, they didn't request for theoretical framework. They only asked for theoretical review. If it's a framework, there's a way we look for how the theory merge with the work. Now, they did not ask me to do this conceptual framework. What they asked me to do is conceptual review. If it's a framework, you are going to use a diagram to connect at least 2 or 3 of the work to show us to do something like maybe in any of the class. Because of the time tonight, I want to say delay us further so that at least we could have time to rest and prepare for another class tomorrow. And each subsequent time, we will also have time to meet and discuss further. So based on what I've shared with us tonight, we've been able to discuss about the principle of literature review, things that are expected from us, how we can get quality papers, how we need to give our to the quality paper so that we can have the gap. They are there just because I didn't use the heading. Let me look for one of the paper and I will show us the gap. Let me look for one. I will share with us now so that we can see that it's not as if we don't have some work that have gap. Yeah, there's something I want to show us. I made reference to something the other time. Let me share my screen. Now, this is a particular document of work. If you see, these are the papers that I downloaded for the work that I've worked with. Inside this, I still have another folder that contains paper again for the work. These are things I talked about the other time. And I used some of this paper when I was doing the analysis of the work. So inside the paper, I still have another paper. So I'm trying to look for now. Can we see my screen? Just a response. Can we see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So I'm trying to rush down to chapter 2, the introduction that I talked about. The introduction is very key. Just in a statement, introduction is very important. This work, we talked about this financial risk management in deposit money banks in Nigeria. And this conceptual review, talk about the risk, concept of financial risk, diachronic analysis of financial risk policy, management of financial risk, 2019, 2016, 2020, like that. Now, deposit money bank financial performance. This has a conceptual review of the work. Now, we come to theoretical review. Now, we review the stakeholders theory, loan pricing theory, shiftability theory, because they are related to it, uncertainty theory, modern portfolio theory, moral hazard theory, specified theory for the study. Can you see now? Can you see what I'm saying now? This is not the one. After we've reviewed plenty for up, with a specified theory for the study. This is now one we want to adopt. I said in the context of this study, modern portfolio theory, MPT, which we've already reviewed here. This modern portfolio theory, can you see? So we are now coming, after we review like 4 or 5 all, we now decided to say, okay, modern portfolio theory stand as the central theoretical framework guiding our examination of bank performance and financial management, risk management. That's all. You can just talk about a few things about it, and that's all. That is that about theoretical review. You have to come to the knowledge of picking one out of the 5 or 6 that you've reviewed. That's how it works. Then you come to empirical review. Review of literature on the determinant of financial risk and bank performance. This is on, because we did this based on our objectives. That's what the professor said. And if you look at our objectives, let me go straight to the objective. Research question. Research. If you look at the objective, say examine determinant of financial risk within the Nigerian banking sector. So we want to see what are the determinant of financial risk. So that's why we review paper based on determinant. So we have to be very strategic and systematic in reviewing your paper in this manner. So we review the paper based on the objectives. So the first one is on literature review on determinant. Then the next one, review of literature on the impact of financial risk on bank performance. That's the objective 2. And if you see some of our papers, if you look at some of the papers that I reviewed here, you can see 2019, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2018, 2017, 2018, 2020. You hardly see where, no, can you see 2019? These are recent papers that you actually, 2017, 2019, 2021, 2021. Can you see? When your professor sees something like this kind of a work, you'll be happy that you review recent papers. Then the last one, we said review of literature based on macroeconomic factor on bank performance. Then after that, summary of gap in the literature. Can you see? We have 3 objectives for the study, and we review papers based on the objective. So apparently, we are going to have 3 sections for the objective. That's exactly what we did. Then we come back to the summary of gap in the literature, and everything we have gotten as a gap that we want to capture is highlighted here. Is highlighted here. Everything that we tend to do we generally examine the impact of financial risk practices, macroeconomic factor, and the financial performance of. Can you see in the statement and how return on equity ROE was employed as a proxy for financial performance? Some have been using ROE. They have not done anything related to ROE as a proxy for financial performance. And that's one of the way we are coming gap for this term. Find out of them have not been using ROE. So because of the fact that we want to achieve another gap, we have to look for a way to chip in what they have not been doing. That's by using ROE as part of our dependent variable. So in this work, we now have 2 different models. We have one for ROA, we have one for ROE. You will see in our model specification here. Let me go down. We see from the model specification, can you see ROA and ROE? We have 2 models. So it shows that where others were publishing paper using ROE, now this work has another area of interest to build around ROE and ROE as our dependent variables. So with little thing that I've shown us tonight, I think we'll be able to see how our literature review should be, things that we need to consider in formulating our research gap to have a good and a smooth writing when it comes to our literature review. Thank you so much for this short time that we spent together. Thank you so much. I rest my case a bit.
Wow. This is deep. It's deeper than what I anticipated. Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Well, I'm not sure you could have gotten everything you said in this class. So you need to watch the replay. So when the replay is made available, make sure you watch it again. Because this is really profound. Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Do you have any question before we round up for this for tonight? We didn't intend to spend this long. So tomorrow we're going to be touching on methodology. Probably we can, I'll think about it. Probably we can shift the time tomorrow to 9 p.m. so that probably we can accommodate more people to join. Tomorrow we're going to be touching on methodology. Methodology is very, very key to every research. Without methodology, you cannot really prove to anyone that you know what you are doing. So tomorrow we're going to be taking methodology, and I'm going to be giving Mr. Wadot more time to cover on that topic tomorrow. So thank you everyone. And if you have questions, you can prepare your question down as relating to methodology. And if you also have a question on research on literature review, we can take your question first before we move on methodology. Yeah, there are some questions. Some people were asking questions on the group. We are going to be taking it first tomorrow before we start tomorrow's session. So everybody, thank you for joining. Mr. Okwadotun, thank you so much for your wealth of knowledge that you have graciously given unto us tonight. Thank you so much, sir. And we see you tomorrow. So, all right, everybody.
It's a privilege, sir. You are my boss. You are my guy at the top. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, well. All right, everyone. So let's call it a day, and we continue tomorrow.
So no question tonight.
If you have any question, is there any question before we round it up?
Chat. Okay, somebody asked a question about using.
Yes,
Okay.
it's not really a question, but
Okay.
he said something that there is a site that is going to tell us that if you are looking for updated research work, you can easily go there and search. So that you can give us that site before.
Okay, you said okay.
That
So the journal site I promised.
I didn't get that. I didn't get it. Can you come again? Which site are you talking about?
Okay, some of the journal site where they can download some recent papers. Is that what you meant? Hello, sir.
I think that's what he meant.
Hello.
I
Yeah.
think that was.
Yes, he was talking about.
Don't worry, I will get it
Are you
across.
with me?
Yes, I will get some of the
Okay,
areas,
okay,
some of the journal site where you can have some recent papers. Yeah, that will be
okay.
sorted.
All right.
Will be sorted. I might even
All
put
right.
it
Thank you so much. All right.
or a slide, and the organizer will send it to everyone.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much for the
much.
lecture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Oh, Saliu Ahmed is raising up his hand. All right. What's your question? Kindly ask it briefly. All right. You can unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Saliu Mohammed, you can ask your question. Oh.
Hello?
All right. Let's have him.
Okay, thank you very much for the excellent presentation. I'm sorry, of course I got the lecture and I have gotten a lot of things about it. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I'm also willing to learn more. However, I saw the advert of the lecture on Facebook, so I'm not sure if the same person is going to post for the next class. So I would like to know if I can join any of your groups so that I can have the update. Thank you.
Okay, you're not on any of our groups.
Yes, I'm not on any of the groups.
Kindly drop your number on the chat. Somebody will reach out to you. Somebody will send you the group.
Okay, thank you.
Kindly drop your number now before we end the call. Michael, what's your question, please?
Okay, sir, not really a question, sir. I just want to remind you of Sister Gladys' question that she sent.
Okay, yeah, she was asking about ChatGPT and all that. Well, this class is for organic, is for
Let me read through the question if I could say one or two things about it. Using generative AI, ChatGPT, Cloud AI, Microsoft, blah blah blah, which of them is best for literature review? Or can one use them together, or is an answer where one is better? Is she online?
she's not. She's
No,
not.
she's online. She's online.
Is she?
Yes, is it not Gladys that sent the? Yeah, she's
Yeah,
online.
she's online. She's online. She's online.
I
She's
will
online.
advise, please and please, don't use any of this software for your literature review. We know that some of this literature, some of this software, you can upload the document and tell ChatGPT or any of this software to review the thing for you. But the beauty part of it is that you won't understand the paper. And you are the one writing, it's not the ChatGPT that want to write for you. It's not ChatGPT that will do the defense for you. You are the one that will do the defense. Some things you will say, some things when you are defending, they are not in your work alone. They are in your head. And they are in your head because you read through the paper yourself. I don't know whether you got what I'm trying to say. I want to advise anyone to use any of this software for a literature somewhere inside the Word document, itemize them. Even by the time you're talking from what you read. In fact, all the people that organize the seminar for you will be wow, like wow, wow, wow. You apparently did a thorough work. That's what if ChatGPT did this for you, you can't recollect it any longer. So in my own opinion, I will advise that even if you eventually use any of this software, make sure you still go through the paper, review it yourself, one way or the other. Secondly, in terms of picking literature for the literature matrix, like you mentioned 50 literature, for instance, will they be choosing arbitrarily or share accordingly to the concept, construct, or selected theory? Good. I like this. You know, when there's some of this, there's one section from the PowerPoint that I didn't get to. There are some theme. There's something called theme, or some of the words or concepts that form your topic. You can be fortunate to see two variables or two concepts that comes together in the paper, and you might be fortunate to just see one. Maybe the impact of so on clinical. You might not see it like that. Many of us, when we first started writing paper, we type all our topics several times. The main topic that you are researching on, you type it several times to Google, you study it several times, and you bring different papers that correlate with it. If you go to ResearchGate very well, press your topic, you will see a lot of papers. They may not come in the real form of your topic, but you will see at least 2, 3 variables that they've worked on that will begin to pop up, and algorithm make it very well. Like it begin to give you some topic that relate to. So it's not as if maybe it's already arbitrary way of choosing. No. Just see, once you see the paper that has at least a variable or a concept of your topic, download it. Read through. Once it's not necessary, you can't really get anything. Delete it. Let it go. Though there's no need to bombard your folder with so many papers. The relevant ones, the useful ones, that's the one you keep and review. So it's based on your topic. It's your topic that justify the structure of or the number of or the different papers you are going to download. They are the one that really contributes to your work because it's from the literature that you got a topic. And when time you are still downloading more to build up your work, you must now have an idea, okay, these are the ones that I need. These ones are no longer useful. You already tailor your mind after you've carved out your objectives. You already know what you need more. So, and some of the things we're going to be talking tomorrow is about the data availability. Before you start writing, your data must be available. Once you have structured a topic, before you can continue to write. Or else you are doing a primary data work. Or you are doing some of this semi blah blah blah. But if you are doing anything that has to do with secondary data work, your data availability is very key. Because once the data is not available, you will be stopped and you might be caused to change the topic entirely. So I wish us the very best. Thanks for your time.
Wow, that's very, very profound, sir. Yeah, what he said about the ChatGPT or AI thing, it's not good to learn research with ChatGPT to make somebody to be mentally lazy. So at some point, it might have its own usage, but it's not good, especially literature review. It's not good to learn research with it. So thank you so much, sir. So tomorrow, Mr. Mohammed, the group link has been sent to you. I hope you received it.
Yes, I received. Thank you very much. Very grateful.
All right. So we're going to continue this study tomorrow, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. I will communicate the time earlier so that you can schedule your time. So hope it wasn't a waste of your time in any way. So tomorrow we catch up again. Thank you everyone for your patience to wait to the end. All right, Mr. Okwadotun, thank you so much for willing to share of your wealth of knowledge with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.